it would be better if they could come in so they can participate in the azah. If the brothers can come in, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala. For the love of Sayyida Zainab, one loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala. For the love of Sayyida Kulthum, one loud salawat. Allahumma salli. And for the love of Sayyida Raqayya bint Aba Abdullah Hussain, Sayyida Shuhada, one loud salawat please. Allahumma salli ala. قل المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثواب الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. أعظم الله وجورنا وجوركم بمصابنا بأبي الأحرار سيد الشهداء أبي عبد الله الحسين وجعلنا من المنتظمين بمصابهم مع إمام منسول من آل محمد. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله. صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله. The Shaam Ghareeban is upon us. This is the first night in which Sayyida Zainab does not have her brother to protect her. This is the night in which the battle has followed. This is the night in which sees the blood of the companions and the Ahlul Bayt spilt upon the floors of Karbala. If we go back just a few hours before, we find that the companions one by one went out and they gave their life for Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. And then Ahlul Bayt, the first to go out was Ali al-Akbar, the 18-year-old child. He was left with a spear embedded into his chest. I ask you, how big is the chest of a man and how much bigger is the head of a spear? Abi Abdullah ran towards the body of his son. He put his hand upon his chest and he pulled out the spearhead. He called towards Najaf. He said, "Oh my father, Ali ibn Abi Talib, you are the one who lifted the gates of Khaybar, but you have never had to lift a spear from your own son's chest." After him, you find that only Muhammad went out, these two young shining stars of Ahlul Bayt. But when their bodies were brought back, Sayyida Zainab did not come out to meet them. She was inside her tent. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Please accept this sacrifice on our behalf. After them, Qasim ibn al-Hassan al-Mujtaba, the young teen, he came out. His body was trampled whilst he was still alive. After him, even Abu Fadl al-Abbas ibn Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam went out to fetch water for the young children. They followed out. They were waiting for the water to quench their thirst. Abi Abdullah al-Husayn's brother, Abul Fadl al-Abbas, lost his right arm, and then his left arm. The water in which he was carrying fell towards the floor. Later on, the enemy Hurmala took an arrow and spread it into the eyes of Abu Fadl al-Abbas. After him, Ali al-Asghar, the 6-month-old baby, became the manifestation of the verse Bidhibhin Adhim. He was the great sacrifice. What crime did he commit? A 3-pronged arrow flew towards the neck of Ali Asghar. The blood of Ali Asghar spilt upon the face and the beard of Abi Abdullah al-Husayn. The last to go out was the master of the martyrs, so hungry, so thirsty, but he fought like a brave lion until he was killed. There are narrations to state that he had more than 300 wounds upon his body. The enemy Shirmer, he took the dagger out, he placed it to the neck of Abi Abdullah, and then struck the head of Abi Abdullah al-Husayn off. These were the events that preceded, and now at this point the sun begins to set, darkness overcomes. It is now just the women and the children and an ill Imam, Zainul Abidin. It is narrated the first to leave the battlefield and come towards the tents was the horse Dhul Jannah of Abi Abdullah al-Husayn. When the horse came back, it is narrated that it was neighing so loud, it was crying out, Al-Dhalimatu, Al-Dhalimatu. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir narrates that this horse, when he was neighing and crying out, he was saying, woe upon this nation that could actually kill the grandson of its own prophet and messenger. Later on, as the horse came back, they watched what it was doing. It was covered in the blood of Abi Abdullah. It is narrated that the young daughter of Abu Abdullah, by the name of Fatima as-Sughra, she was standing just outside the tents. She was observing, and she states that I saw the enemies begin to mutilate the body of my father. They began to cut his dead body to pieces. At this point, we saw the enemies gallop on horses. They rode over the body of my father, and they continued to approach. As they came, I realized they were not going to stop until they entered into the tents. I began to run to the left, and I began to run to the right. Oh fathers, can you imagine your young daughter being chased to the left and to the right? Oh mothers, how could you help your daughter in this situation? Fatima as-Sughra says, I ran to the left and I ran to the right. I tried to stop the enemies from approaching, but one man continued on his horse. He took a spear and he used the back end of the spear and he thrust it into my back. I fell towards the floor. I cried out, Wa Husayna, Wa Abata, Wa Baba, please come to my aid, O my father. The enemy came down from his horse. He clambered upon me. He put his hand back and then he slapped me upon my face. He began to put his hands upon my ears. He snatched the earrings from me. My ears began to bleed. And then he put his hands on my ankle. My ankle bracelets were also taken from me. At this point, after having been slapped again, I fell unconscious. When I woke up, sitting next to me was my auntie Kulthum. I began to weep. Oh, my auntie, have you seen what they have done to us? I am without my veil. Please, is there any veil that you can give to the daughter of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein? Kulthum turned towards her blessed niece and said, oh, Fatima, even your auntie Kulthum does not have a veil at this time. It is narrated that a man by the name of Khuli entered into the tents. As he entered into the tent, he found that there was Imam Zainul Abidin lying ill, grief-stricken upon the bed. As he was lying upon the mat, Khuli entered and he found that Imam Zainul Abidin was lying semi-conscious. At this point, he had the audacity. He put his hands upon the mat. He ripped the mat from underneath Zainul Abidin. Zainul Abidin, he fell to the floor. It was only him and the sands. He began to plunder the tents. They began to take whatever they could. One narration says that Umar ibn Sa'adin, he came outside the tents. Brothers and sisters, I want you to listen to the words about what come out of the mouth of Umar ibn Sa'ad. I swear by Allah, you may not be able to find a sadder tradition, a sadder set of words than these particular words. I want you to imagine that this is what you are seeing at this very time, that this is your mother, or this is your auntie, or this is your sister that is about to have these words said about them. Umar ibn Sa'ad, he stands outside the tent and he begins to call out. He says, O daughters of Ali ibn Abi Talib, prepare for captivity. Can you imagine the daughters of Ali ibn Abi Talib being told to prepare for captivity? Imagine Sayyida Zainab in a few months will be put in shackles. Imagine Kulthum will be strapped to her sister and made to walk towards Kufa. O daughters of Ali ibn Abi Talib, prepare for captivity. Sayyida Zainab responded back, O Umar, we will not come out until we are ready to come out. Look at the bravery. This is the remnant of Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is the daughter of Fatima al-Zahra, showing what level of bravery she had. She responds back, no, we will not come out until we are ready. Do you know what the response was? They began to burn the tents in which Ahl al-Bayt was staying in. Oh Zainab, this is not the first time your house has been burnt. This is not the first time, because they came towards the door. They began to burn previously. This is the second time in which you have had to face the burning of your house. Weep for Sayyida Zainab, mu'mineen. Sayyida Zainab, she is inside the tents. They begin to burn the tents. It forces the children to begin to run out. One narration states that when one of the young daughters of Abi Abdullah came out, it began to become dark. She did not know which way to go to the left or to the right. As she began to flee in towards the battlefield, she tripped over some thorn bushes and fell into the thorn bushes. She began to cut herself on what was there in the desert. At this point, a narrator states that he saw Sayyida Zainab coming in and coming out of the tent, coming in and coming out of the tent. As she was coming out, she would look to the left and she would look to the right. She would look up towards the heaven and she would raise her hands. The narrator came and said, "Oh woman, what is the situation? The tents are burning. Why do you keep going inside and coming outside?" She responded, "Oh Sheikh, do you not know that there is an ill man inside these tents? I cannot leave him. I cannot just exit the tents." The narrator says the next thing. Sayyida Zainab ran back into the tent and she was seen carrying the body of Zain al-Abidin outside of the tent. There were no men to assist Sayyida Zainab. She had to take the role of the Imam. She had to take the role of father and brother. She ran out with the body of Zain al-Abidin. Brothers and sisters, the young children began to run out and to the left and to the right. The men, the evil tyrants, would come and snatch everything that they naked. They were left veilless. They would slap them upon the face. They would beat them with the back of the spears. Here is one narration that states, one of the observers of the event of Karbala, he walked towards the burning tents. As Sayyidah Sakina, the young daughter, walked out of the tent, she began crying for her father. She found the narrator. She found the man standing there, and she runs up to him. She says, "Oh man, do you know which way is Najaf?" He responds back, "Why do you want to know where Najaf is?" She says, "Because I want to complain to my grandfather Ali ibn Abi Talib about what has happened to us tonight. I want my master, I want my grandfather to have observed everything. I want him to know what took place on this night." They continued to round up the women and children. It did not end there, because eventually through the night, they came and brought water for the women and children. I want you to imagine, after at least one day, if not 3 days of hunger and thirst, eventually they brought the water towards the women and children. One narration states that as they brought the water, Sayyidah Zainab took the water and distributed it towards the children. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir passed it towards the sisters. The sisters passed it one to the other to the other. Eventually, Bibi Sakina was given the water. Do you know what she said? She took the water and turned round back towards where the burning tent was. Bibi Zainab says, "Oh my young niece, why are you going away with the water? Where are you going?" She says, "I do not want to drink until my little brother Asghar has drunk. I will give him the water." She responds back by saying, "You cannot do it. He has been slaughtered, my young daughter. He is buried underneath the ground." It does not stop there. There is one narration that states that one man was eventually found in Mecca. He eventually went to Mecca, and he was found holding on to the door of the Kaaba. As he was holding on to the door of the Kaaba, he was crying loudly. He was crying and wailing for what he had done. He was saying, "Allah, forgive me for all of my sins. Whatever I have done, please, please forgive me." The men of Mecca came towards him, and they said to him, "What sin have you done that is so bad? Unless you are Iblis, there is no need to wail like this." He said, "No, only I know the grief of the sins that I have performed." They said, "Please, tell us what sin is so great that you need to wail like this." He said that I was one of the people who left Abi Abdillah. I was with him from Makkah until the plains of Karbala. But one night I left and I decided to hide out in Karbala, and I waited for all of the events to finish. I saw that Abi Abdillah's body was slaughtered upon the plains. I went towards the dead body. I found his body, that it had his head removed from his shoulders. But then at one point, my evil soul overtook me. I went towards the lifeless body, and I said to myself, "Why don't you take something from him?" So I began looking at what I could steal from the lifeless body of Abi Abdillah. At that point, night began to dry over, so no one could see me perform this action. I went towards the dead body of Abi Abdillah, and I put my hands upon his belt, and this belt was holding his lower garment. As I was taking the belt, Abi Abdillah's right hand came and stopped my hand. What did I do? I tried to continue to pull the belt. It did not come off. His hand was over my hand, so I looked around, and next to Abi Abdillah was a broken sword. I picked up the sword, and I put it to the right hand. I put it to the right wrist of Abi Abdillah al-Hussein, and I began to sever his arm. I took his arm and I put it on the floor, and then I put my hand again on the belt. This time Abi Abdillah's left hand, it came and held my arm. He again tried to stop me from taking his belt. Again I tried to pull my hand off. His hand was still there. I again took the broken sword and I put it to the left wrist of of Abi Abdullah, and I cut off that wrist, and I began to take the belt. No sooner had I done this action than I saw a swirl taking place in front of me. I saw four lights. I saw four lights, and I saw a row of angels behind, and I recognized this was Rasulullah, this was Ali ibn Abi Talib, this was Fatima, and this was Hassan. Rasulullah cursed me. He said, may your face become dark and may your hands become withered. No sooner had he said that, my face became black and my hands became withered. That is why I'm here at the Kaaba seeking forgiveness. But I know Allah will never forgive me for what I have done. They began to rebuke him for his sins and said, how dare you come to this place? It does not end there. It does not end there, because the women and the children, they began to come back towards the burnt out tents. Eventually, Sayyida Zainab managed to bring all of the children together, and as they began to sleep, she too managed to get just a few seconds of rest. It is narrated that Abi Abdullah came to her in the dream and said to her, why do you sleep? My daughter Sakina is not to be found. She is not amongst us. Please go out and find her. She woke up, and then she went to her younger sister Kulthum, and they said that their children are all together barring one. There is still one children missing. So they went out in towards the desert. As they were walking out into the desert, eventually you find that Sayyida Ruqayya is sleeping inside the lap of one lady. She comes towards the lady and says, oh lady, thank you for looking after my young child. I appreciate what you have done. Please tell me who you are so I can pray for you, and I can ask my mother Fatima Zahra to pray for you. The woman was dressed in black. She looks up towards Sayyida Zainab. Oh Zainab, do you not recognize your own mother Fatima? I have been with you since you have left Medina, and I have been sitting next to the body of Abi Abdullah, and I will not leave you until we return back to Medina. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين. اللهم ارزقنا في الدنيا زيارة الحسين، وفي الآخرة شفاعة الحسين، واحشرنا مع الحسين. اللهم ارزقنا في الدنيا زيارة إمام زماننا يا الله. اللهم ارزقنا في الدنيا زيارة إمام زماننا يا الله. اللهم ارزقنا في الدنيا زيارة إمام زماننا يا الله برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ولعن الله الظالمين من الأولين والآخرين.